Welcome back to Booked, the podcast that helps you get booked on more podcasts. My name is Spencer Carpenter with Outlier Audio, and I'm here with my co-host,
Amanda Foley from Curate Your Soul.
And today we're going to talk about just some of the best practices, but also some mistakes we see people make when going on to podcasts. So part of this is going to be general notes on do's and don'ts, but also some of it is a little bit like mindset preparation. Mindset's the wrong word, but like you're being prepared to come and provide value and not make it transactional. I guess I didn't really bury the lead there. But you know, we can jump right into some of that stuff. I mean, I've had clients that have gone on to hundreds of podcasts. Mm-hmm. And as much as I tell them, go listen to between 1 and 3 episodes before the show, it's not that they don't want to. They're busy people. Mm-hmm. We're all busy people. Everyone's a busy person. And their episodes would be way better if they did. That's for sure. But I can't force them to do it. The best I can hope is that they looked at the show name. They clicked on the link. They looked at the link that I provided them. They looked at the show description, maybe glanced at a few episodes. And if nothing else, I do prepare my clients so that, like, because we pitch specific topics, normally the host is going to build around that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't do that to make it so my clients don't have to be prepared for the show. It's just I want to be prepared for all situations. So I encourage that they go do all this additional work, but if nothing else, expect that the host is going to ask you these questions in case you're running late and you get to the desk right before the episode starts, because that's going to happen.
Right. Especially if you have, like, I have clients to talk about multiple different, their topic within different genres. So it could be wellness, it could be more spiritual, it could be, and if they don't know what they're walking into, they're also not approaching the answers in a way that makes sense for that particular audience too.
Well, it's funny because the person that on my team currently, that I'm not on my team, a client of mine that is currently the most prepared, does have like 2 marketing people that I work with directly, and they set up 15-minute prep calls with their client, with their boss.
Yeah.
Before interviews, and he manages a real estate portfolio that's almost $3 billion. He's the most, in terms of assets, he has the most out of everyone I work with, and he's the only one that's actually doing prep calls.
That's probably why he has the most assets of anyone you work with.
Yeah,
right?
he
knows how to do it. He's smart. Well, and I think the thing is, too, people are making an investment in us or whoever they're having pitch them, and if you're not making the most of the interview, then you're just basically throwing your investment out the window too, right? If you're going to show up unprepared or have an episode that you're not proud to share, or you don't feel like you got the right message across to that particular audience, then, what was the point of doing it?
Yeah. And I feel like I sound so dramatic when I say this, but like, you need to respect the people that not just host you on their show, but are like just tuning in. Have some respect for the listeners.
Well, and for the host, because those hosts nurture those audiences. And that's why it's, in a lot, and this sounds dramatic, but it's an honor to be invited onto a show with an audience that host has spent likely years and hundreds of episodes nurturing.
Developing.
You don't want them to have an episode that they're not proud to put out either. So it's just a courtesy to show up prepared.
I remember being excited to listen to, I can't remember what it was or who the guest was, and even if I knew the guest, I probably wouldn't shout him out right now, but I remember before I started this business being excited to hear an episode, and then I'm pretty sure the guest was on his phone in the park.
Really?
Yeah, and it was one of those things where it's like, you're like a big name person, and obviously, big name people, they're busy. We said that earlier, but like, I can't believe that you decided to go on like this big podcast in the fucking park with no microphone and with dogs barking. And I was so bummed, and I just turned it off. I was
just
like, I don't want to, but it's like, I don't want to hear that. I'm in my car.
It's not
I
like
have
the
to turn
radio,
up
like, radio shows back in well, you're younger than me, but like people, would do interviews on a radio show and they'd call in,
that
right?
Was
like
that was the only option.
Right. Like unless it was Howard Stern, most people weren't in the studio often when they would interview. So they could be calling from somewhere else. But in this day and age of video interviews too.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, people notice when there's a difference in the quality or the volume between the host and the guest.
Yeah, it's hard to listen.
It's hard to listen when it's back and forth, and
yeah.
like if you're in the car, you got to like turn up the volume. It's not great. You want to give the listener the best auditory experience they can have.
It is it's irritating when that happens. When like you're listening to something and like you're saying like the volume goes down or like it gets real quiet or then
And luckily things like mics like this make it real easy for you to sound fucking amazing.
Yeah, without doing anything.
You just have to make the one-time investment. It'll last you, I don't know. I mean, maybe our producer can chime in here, but like I think it'll last you probably 10 years to buy a
probably
$250
longer than your
mic.
Than your podcast.
Yeah. And you don't need to like upgrade it or anything like that regularly. It's a one-time investment. And it makes you sound amazing. So we really think that you should ideally be listening to episodes beforehand. This also just comes back to like, there are lots of shows that have recurring questions, and that might be the whole show structure is the same 5 questions, or it might be that they ask every guest the same 1, 2, or 3 questions at the end, the fire round, whatever you want to call it. And like, I'm not a super decisive person when people ask me my favorite things.
Oh no, I go blank if like I'm on the spot with that kind of stuff.
And so it makes me look like a dickhead if I didn't prepare and I didn't listen to the episode beforehand to know they were going to ask that question.
Sometimes they even send you. I just did a podcast. I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. Actually, with Annika Jackson, we talked about it. Yeah. And when I read all the prep material she sent, which is another good thing that people should remember, read the prep material that the host sends you, because often they do send, and there's some like little nuggets buried at the bottom behind the microphone and all that stuff. But she asks, what's your favorite quote? And if I would have had to answer that, I mean, I have favorite quotes. I literally have sticky notes on my monitor that like have some of my favorite quotes, and I actually ended up choosing one. But if she would have asked me that in the moment and I wasn't prepared, I would have probably even forgotten that those sticky notes were sitting right in front of my face and been like, what's my favorite quote? But like to your point, and you were just talking about your client that has the podcast on decision making, right? Like say somebody doesn't pay attention, podcast strategist puts them on that show. They don't even know that that show's specifically about a decision point. They could have to wing it for 40 minutes or whatever and really kind of butcher an opportunity that they could have been thoughtful about and built the connection into what they ultimately wanted the message to be.
Well, yeah, just because you look at a certain, you can see a title, but that doesn't mean that title always is the premise of the
indicative,
show.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I said, the show we were talking about is my client Jana's podcast. She dives into one decision in the guest's life. What were the stakes, yada, yada. And lots of people think that, there's also like a subtitle to it, for leaders that refuse to quit. So we get pitches from people that think it's a leadership podcast.
Right.
And then when we tell them, no, it's a bad decision, they're all like, oh, yeah, that time I quit my job to start my business, which isn't unique whatsoever.
Right, because we were saying everybody did that now.
Yeah.
That was like maybe in 4 or 5 years ago, that was kind of like a newer thing to do. There was an exodus, but now that's the norm.
I've had 100 submissions from people that like, you're not wrong for being a person in a leadership industry pitching to a show that says leadership. Right. But in this case, because you didn't do any additional research, you are pitching things that we would never cover. I remember being at a podcast conference and someone saying like they didn't like podcast booking agents because her thing was about like trauma and overcoming trauma, and in the title was the word grit. And she's like, I always get all these business people pitching me. I'm like, I think that's because in like entrepreneurship world or sales world, they look for grit. And so I think you're getting submissions because of that. So this is not her fault. What I am saying though, is that the title is not always representative of the actual show. And so if that is all you're going off of,
Well, and
you
it can
might get it
also,
wrong.
too, the same words could mean multiple things. So
True.
I have a client that has the human design podcast. There also is human design, which is more of like a, I don't know, like how things function, like
Yeah.
and how we use, I don't know, chairs or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
probably butchering what the other human design is, but we get pitches all the time that are related to something like that.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, I get it. But if you actually looked at the show, you would realize, oh, this has nothing to do.
Right.
But again, that goes back to other conversations we've had about spraying and praying
Yep.
pitches out versus thoughtfully sending pitches and really focusing on quantity over quality. Or no, wrong. Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
Strike that from the record.
Yeah. I just think it's really important that, like, I know so few people are actually going to do it, but putting in some time on preparing for your interview is just going to make a world of difference. I think about if you can listen to the last 3 episodes and then refer to that in your episode.
Even listen to it on like double speed.
That's what I say.
Right.
Listen
It
to
doesn't
them,
have to be
2x speed.
Yes.
I think.
Well, and if you're saying like your clients are doing 2 interviews a month, which is really reasonable, like I actually think it's better when people do like 5 or less. Anything more than that, I think it gets to be.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
People are like, I want 10 interviews a month. I mean, I get that, but I don't
they
think
get
that there's
burnt out
many
on
reasons
it.
why there's like that's not my
it's not
preferred
good.
approach. But if you're doing 2 interviews a month, it's not actually that much time.
No.
To prepare. I mean, don't we all like take a walk or we're in the car or whatever? You know, there's always an opportunity to listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you wouldn't want to listen to someone that you're going to have a conversation with.
Yeah. Well, I just think though that, like, going back to like the community that the host has fostered, assume that the person that's listening to your episode has listened to the last 10. Maybe they're new. Maybe they've been listening to hundreds, but you are now coming into their world. Think of it as their own Marvel universe of this podcast community. And so when you can reference something that a past guest talked about, it's like the Easter egg. Like, I was there for that. I remember that episode.
Well, that gets attention too. I think it actually
is so undervalued.
It makes the host engage then too.
For
Because
sure.
they kind of like sit up and they think, oh my gosh, like you really do listen.
Yes.
Because I think that's the other problem with the whole the pitch intro with, oh, I listened to the last, your last episode with so-and-so and I loved it. And I'm like, all right, you totally had ChatGPT summarize that.
Right.
And I think that's become almost a flag of insincerity.
For sure.
That's, it's like couched in sincerity, but it's so clear that it's, it's just people think that's what you do. And I think when you actually get on the show and like you're saying, mention something from a while back, and it's not always going to happen, but maybe the guest becomes a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Which also then goes back to the last episode that'll probably come out before this one, which is then they want to have opportunities to collaborate with you post interview because they understand that you really do get what they're sharing.
Right. Well, I mean,
or get their audience, whatever, however you want to look at it.
We had a client that like really paid attention to what the host was. This is the same person that does the prep calls. They came back to me and they're like, well, we listened back to the questions the host was asking us. We want to recalibrate our topics around that because we're seeing the same questions coming up. I guess that's not really but caring about like not just the host but the listeners is important in this game. And as we are in a transition point right now where podcast booking agents are getting a lot of shit. Podcasts that lots of marketing is getting shit because it's just AI generated.
Yeah, people are tired of it all.
There's VAs, there's all kinds of things, and some of it's good and some of it's bad, and some of it's just at a point where it's in growing pains. But like, I think that being able to really show thoughtfulness and sincerity in your pitch, in your delivery, in your conversations, in your marketing is just. It's going to resonate with it's going to resonate with the people you want to be your customers and to be your followers. And I can't say that this is going to that's going to matter across the whole industry, but it can matter in your world a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so I just think that putting in some of that effort is going to, do a lot for you, and showing up ready to provide unique value. That again, we create topics, and I think my topics that I create for my clients are valuable, and I'm hoping that they think it is too. But there's nothing like the client that does some preparation on their own.
Well, and I'd say the same even for us too. I mean, I think it's important to listen to the interviews that our clients do, because what I have found, and this works for them as well, and it can adapt pitches. It can also adapt how they answer questions or where they direct those answers to questions that they get, is it's sort of market research in a way. I always say, like, doing a podcast campaign is like some of the best market research you could do, because you're hearing what people are interested in. And if you start to pay attention and identify the patterns there, you then start to see what people are interested in, because sometimes what people are interested in is not always what, we think that they're going to be interested in.
Because we're too close
or
to
the
it.
client thinks that they're going to be interested in. And I think if you're not using that data and adapting from there, you're missing an opportunity too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that we're already going a little bit longer on some of this stuff than what we anticipated, but a few other things that we should, mention, because, I preface this with it's a lot about do's and don'ts. You for sure should be in a quiet location. You should have a microphone, make that one-time investment. You should also have headphones of some kind, because your audio is going to come out of the computer, out of a speaker, and it can feed back into the mic. And that, again, is awful. It's an awful experience for everybody. It's even hard to listen to the host talk to you, or you talk to you. I mean, I can hear myself if I'm echoing somebody. It distracts me. It's me talking over me. So I don't know why anybody would want that experience. So you've got to be prepared for that. Making sure that you don't have a glass with ice clinking around. That's going to come through on the mic. I'm touching the mic arm right here.
Don't click your pen.
Yeah, don't click your pen. I'm touching this right here. You can hear it in the mic. I'm guessing, probably, our producer's Nylon, he can hear it in the mic or in his headphones right now. Like the overhead fan with the chain clinking around, the AC. These are all things that are just going to become a distraction.
Or even your background. I mean, if you can't have a background, and not everybody has a place that can have a pretty background, but then blur your background.
Yeah, I
especially with video, everything being video these days too, that can be really distracting.
I think the blurred background is a bit. I live in a house with 800 square feet. There's no good place for me to, so I do the blurred. I hate the green screen background. It just, I can tell you're not there.
Oh, you mean like the fake apartment in New York
it's
City
like, I know you're not there. I know you're not on vacation. I know that's not what your office looks like. Yeah. But if nothing else, as you move, it does the
your
weird
head,
green
you get that
screen
weird
stuff.
thing around your head. And,
at least with the blur.
The blur is the best bet.
It's not you trying to pretend you're somewhere else. I don't know. It's just odd. So, do you have any other best practices though, in terms of tech or besides preparation, but just
I think
things
that's pretty much covers it.
Yeah. I think the number one thing though, come prepared to provide value. You're not there to pitch. You're not there to sell. You can hope all you want that this interview is actually going to have an ROI for you, but people can see through that.
The host won't like it, or the listeners don't want to be sold to either.
Yeah.
They're going to buy because they like you, not because of anything you say about your product.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta come, if nothing else, prepared to be happy to be there, and wanting to be not a servant. I mean, I hate to say to be a servant, but you're there to serve.
Yeah, to add value and be on time.
Yeah.
Or 5 minutes early, even if you're sitting on the recording link, because there's nothing worse. Or check here's another one, because this just happened to my client yesterday. Make sure that the podcasting program runs on your browser.
Yep. Yeah. An updated Chrome browser or whatever.
Because that happened with Riverside just last night. There were emails flying around at because of the time zone difference. and she couldn't get on because, you know, and she's trying Safari and she's trying Edge and she's trying Chrome, but it wasn't working and they had to reschedule it.
That's a very good
And
point.
it happens. I mean, I'm not going to say that tech stuff never happens and it's out of your control,
happens, for
but
sure.
there are things you can do to mitigate that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up for this episode of Booked, the podcast that gets you booked on more podcasts. I do have a document I give to clients that is like a, you know, interview checklist type thing that has some of these tips. If you want that, you know, shoot me a message. I'm happy to share it with you. And it's just, you know, some best practices and links to good mics and stuff like that. So my name is Spencer Carpenter with Outlier Audio, is my co-host.
Amanda Foley.
And we'll catch you on the next one.